Welcome back to Catch and Cook. So it's been around 2 weeks since the last devlog, and during those 2 weeks I've added a lot of stuff. So this devlog is going to go over what I've added, what it means for gameplay, and what I can do with it in the future. So first off, I saw someone's comment mentioning like twigs making sound when you walk over them, and it got me thinking. I realized that projectiles in the game don't make any sound. So if an arrow or a spear landed next to an animal, they wouldn't even react to it. So I got that implemented pretty easily. I straight up just added the scent generator node to a projectile, and I made the sound priority of them really high, so no matter what, animals will always be curious about what landed next to them. So now that projectiles have sound, I'll probably make it in the future where, based on what ground you're walking on, you'll be louder or quieter. So during fall, there might be a lot of leaves on the ground. I can add leaf clusters as objects where when you step on them, they generate a sound, just like the twigs. And just like how that idea was incredible, so is this beautiful map right now, man. There was another comment that mentioned they really liked the art style that was in the Roblox version, so I spent a lot of time implementing a new map. I'll reveal this map when I reveal my favorite feature I've added by far. But let's move on to more gameplay implications. So to start, I added a scent system. This system is actually invisible to the player, but it really affects how lively the world is. With this system, I made it so animals will now forage and eat. So when an animal's hunger is really low, they'll go into a state where they start looking for food. As you can see, when this rabbit smells the carrot scent area, the rabbit transitions into its forage state. In this state, the animal will navigate towards the scent source, or the position of what's generating the smell. This means that when you're wandering around, you can actually see animals like a rabbit trying to find a carrot, or you can follow animals to find out what forageables they're going to. Along with forageables are animal carcasses. They're treated just like forageables, where you have to interact with them to get the item. The reason I did this is so I can add carcasses for other animals to scavenge or eat. So now you can stumble upon already killed animals, or you can have your meat stolen if you don't harvest it quick enough. Along with that, I fixed a lot of bugs with the animal states. There's actually a bug where when you shot an arrow and if it hit the ground next to an animal, if that animal was a predator, they would investigate the arrow and start hunting it. So I actually found out the root cause of this bug. It was the vision system I implemented last devlog. So I went through and cleaned up a lot of the vision and sound system code, and I actually made it so they now accurately combine with each other. Plus I made it so the vision system only works in a 180-degree cone. So now you can actually sneak up behind animals as long as you aren't making enough sound, and you can get the jump on them. So with the animals cleaned up and brought to their states that I'm pretty much comfortable with, I decided to move on. There's a lot to add in terms of visuals, like animations and making their look around smoother, but I decided to call it quits for now on the animals and just move on to something else. And speaking of visuals, I added a day and night cycle. This day and night cycle was actually pretty easy to implement. I just needed a lot of time to like tweak things and get the finer details correct, like the coloring and the sunset time and all that. So after a lot of tweaking and adjustments, this is how it looks. I'm actually really proud of this system because it looks really nice and it's super easy to do things. Like I can set events to happen at certain times of the day. I can change stuff really easily. It's really nice. But then I was like, I have this beautiful sunset, this beautiful sunrise, this lighting, and I'm like, this map is so dang ugly, bro. So you know what I did? I left the map the exact same, and instead I decided to add wind. And I know what you're thinking, man, this game looks horrible, this map is disgusting, what are you doing with the game? Stop working on it, uninstall, actually just get rid of the entire game altogether. But just hear me out for a second. Little wind particles. No, but in all seriousness, this wind system is actually pretty in-depth. Throughout intervals during the day, wind direction and speed get changed. This wind direction and speed actually affects the particles in the way the scent gets propagated throughout the map. I actually really like this wind system because it'll help later on when I add leaves and grass swaying. So not only will you have leaves and grass swaying, you also have wind particles. In my opinion, this makes the world feel a lot more alive and active. Let's just gander at the newfound beauty. Wait. Do you see that? What is that? Oh my gosh, it's a disgustingly ugly map. I know this is the moment y'all have been waiting for. Finally, my favorite feature. Weather. No, but in all seriousness, I redid the map because I was really sick and tired of looking at it, man. So I redid it. I added trees, I added rocks, I added grass, bushes, I added flowers, and I just made the map look so much better. Along with this was my weather and wind. It was actually really motivating to see the map finally come together and look cohesive. You know, like I can finally see the future of the game. But anyway, let me explain the visuals and the behind the scenes of this weather system. So the world has this environment node. This is where most of the adjustments for the game scenes take place. This is also how the weather influences the sky and color correction. Selling a rain effect isn't just putting clouds over the player and getting a rain particle. I can fake the shadows of clouds by turning down the brightness and saturation of the game. So this node combines with the particle systems to sell the weather effect. On a new day and throughout day-length intervals, a new weather state is chosen. This system only chooses a weather that smoothly transitions from the one before it. So for example, the sunny state can only transition to the cloudy state, rainy state, foggy state, or windy state. It's not possible for the sunny state to instantly transition into the thunderstorm state. I can change how fast the state transitions so it can go from sunny, rain, heavy rain to thunderstorm really quickly, but it just won't allow drastic transitions to different states. I did this to pseudo-simulate cloud fronts and to warn the player of incoming rainfall, so the player is aware the weather is bad before a thunderstorm or heavy rainfall occurs. But what are the gameplay implications of this weather? For one, if it's raining, it makes it way harder to see. Not only is it harder to see, but sounds are also quieter. In this function, if it's raining, the global weather sound dampener adjusts the distance at which the sound can be heard. You can actually sneak up on animals easier and perform more actions since they're quieter. But the problem is it might actually be harder to spot these animals now that it's raining. So not only are animals affected by weather, they're actually affected by the day and night cycle too. Animals are only awake during their specified time active range. When the current time surpasses this range, animals will sleep. This means I can add nocturnal animals and I can make it so you can find sleeping animals. All in all, these systems work really well together. The wind affects the direction and velocity of particles from weather, the weather affects the sound system, and the day and night cycle affects them overall. Now you may have noticed this little FPS counter in the top left. This is how I track my optimizations. The weather and wind system, they actually only follow the camera. They're not global at all. The wind and weather particles are just mapped to the camera's position and they just follow it. The rain effect actually starts out as individual raindrops in the center, and then as it goes out further, it turns into large textures of multiple drops. This makes it so I can portray really heavy rainfall without millions of particles. And this situation is just like the wind particles. It just follows the camera and spawns them around the camera. Along with particle optimizations is the map. You probably wouldn't believe me if I told you there was 10,768 meshes on just this map alone. But in total, the GPU is only drawing 90 objects. For starters, each of these meshes is really low poly. These trees consist of 12 to 36 triangles. In Minecraft, each block is 12 triangles, and many of those blocks make up one tree. In my game, it takes the same computing power to render 50 birch trees as it would to make one oak tree in Minecraft. Now, Minecraft does backface culling with block faces, so you don't actually render each side of a cube, but so does my game, so these trees are actually less than 12 to 36 triangles. This means the sides of objects are only rendered when you're facing them. So I can actually cram tons and tons of objects into one scene and make this game look super lush and lifelike. So that's pretty much the gist of this devlog. So I hope you guys like the new wind, the new weather, the map, and all that stuff. I had a lot of fun making it, and it really helps tie this whole game together. But I am far from done. I've got a lot of optimizations to make, bugs to fix, things to implement, and I'll probably release the next devlog the week after this next Friday. So on November 22nd, expect the next devlog. Anyways, that's it for me, and thank you guys for watching.